Statement of local result as to the counting of second preference votes for the election of the Mayor for the City of Bristol. As returning officer for the election of the Mayor for the City of Bristol on Thursday the 6th of May, I hereby certify that the total number of ballot papers verified at the counting of second preference votes is 52,206. The total number of second preference votes given for each of the candidates remaining in the contest is as follows. Hoare Ruven Sandy, Green Party, 9,332. Rees Marvin Jonathan, Labour Party, 8,766. Candidates not remaining in the contest, 27,265. Total number of second preference votes, 45,363. The number of ballot papers rejected at the counting of second preference votes is as follows. Ballot papers on which more than one second preference vote is given, 15. Ballot papers which are unmarked as to the second preference vote, 6,818. Ballot papers which are void for uncertainty as to the second preference vote, 12. Total number of rejected ballot papers, 6,845. I declare that the combined total of votes given for each of the candidates remaining in the contest is as follows. Hoare Ruven Sandy, Green Party, 45,663. Rees Marvin Jonathan, Labour Party, 59,276. I hereby declare that Marvin Jonathan Rees is duly elected as the Mayor of Bristol.
Thank you very much, everyone. I can honestly say the timing whereby you finish campaigning on a Thursday night and get the result on a Saturday night is absolutely brutal. I think all of the candidates would share that. So I just want to say thank you to begin with to everyone, Tim, you and your team who have put this election together. In a huge election, four elections, but in the face of some extraordinary challenges as well, particularly obviously COVID. So thank you all for all the effort that's gone in. For my part, I just want to thank everyone that's worked on the team. Hayley has obviously been an anchor as well from regional office, so thank you. But everyone's put in the hours, volunteers. This is where I know that I will get off the stage and think, oh, who did I not thank? And I'll get texts saying you didn't thank this person and that person, you know. So my apologies in advance for that. But for all those people who have really put in the hours on the campaign, it just wouldn't have been possible without you. And from the very personal support as well from the councillors that were really close around me, Marg, Helen, Craig, you know, Kai. And again, now I'm not going to mention people, but there's lots of people. I also need to thank the candidates. It is, you know, people will often look at politicians, and we know it happens, you somehow cross this line and cease to be a rounded human being with many aspects to what you are and just become a politician. And it's a brutal process. Sandy's been on this for 2 years, Alistair more recently, obviously, and the same with Caroline and some of the other candidates. But to be on this treadmill for such a long time, anticipating an election, when you think every mistake you make could be recorded, photographed, tweeted, in which people are forensically examining who you are, what they think you are, projecting what they want you to be as well, which may not have anything to do with who you actually are, you know, is exhausting. And my respect goes to anyone that crosses the line, you know, on that front. And I should also, you know, thank my wife, Kirsten, who's, I think, trying to FaceTime this right now. Again, we never cease to be fully rounded human beings with children, with work, with pressures, with concerns, with nerves, and all the other things that go on in everyday life. And people don't often see that side of, you know, political, you know, existence. But my wife has to put up with me and put up with the challenges of me being mayor. And dare I say, actually, if I will share, because I think we should set a standard, when people write things like, we know where you live, it's my wife I have to phone, right? So we have to think about the way we do politics and the quality of our political discourse. And I should also have to thank those people that voted for me, obviously. Thank you so much. It's always a very humbling thing, and it's almost an otherworldly thing to meet someone that says, I voted for you. This happened over the last few weeks when you see people on the street and they said, I've put my postal vote and I voted for you already. That's incredibly humbling. And like I said, it's an otherworldly, it's an out-of-body experience almost to think that someone trusts you, with the city. Just a few other things. This is my old school as well, which I didn't even make the connection until I was on my way down here. I came here between 83 and 1990, and I was on SWU, SWU FM the other day with a guy called Joe Pang from Laid Black, and he said, we were rugrats coming out of this part of the city. How did you become mayor? And I suppose there's something nice and poetic for me in that I take this re-election in the school that I struggled at, that wasn't always fun, that we faced all these challenges, that some of the kids I went to school with are no longer with us and all the rest of it. And this is the school, and I hope that one of the messages that can come out from this is there is hope, right? Where you come from, it ain't a fair world. We live in one of the most socially immobile countries in the OECD. Right, where your parental wealth is the biggest determinant of your life chances. But there can be hope in the middle of all that, and that's what we've tried to set ourselves out to do as an administration. The other piece of poetry, actually, was that when I decided to run in 2012, I gave an assembly in this very hall, as in, who the heck is this guy stepping up to run for mayor? And those seatings were pulled out. There was a school assembly, and I came here to launch my 2012 campaign. Two kids in my old school, and I said, I went to your school and I'm running for mayor today, right? I didn't know how far it would go, but that was from the very beginning. I wanted to say that's what this is about. Look at this pathway. I'm not claiming to be anything special, but I grew up down the road. I went to Easton Road after I went to St. Nick's and it didn't quite work out. And then I came here and then I made it. I got to sixth form, just about 5 C's at GCSE. That's all I got. I just scraped my way through. So I hope that maybe today there's a piece of poetry that people can draw on. I think too, for me, it is a moment of great joy. Obviously, I may not look like it. It's qualified until I see what happens with my councillors. I have some fantastic councillors, I've worked with in the city, and I'm desperately hoping that they get elected as well. I think one of the and it came to me as a challenge, but I think it's true that getting elected first time is one thing, getting re-elected is something of a whole different order. And I suppose part of the blessing of being re-elected is an affirmation that people like what we've been doing. Some people don't, but on the whole, and some people that couldn't elect as well, like the way we've tried to lead the city, we tried to be inclusive, we focused on delivering social justice in the face of a climate and ecological emergencies. And so we'll continue, we'll obviously continue in that vein. And last but not least, I'd just like to say something very personal. I lost my brother in December, and, I dreamed that if I was to win, I'd be able to stand on stage and just say, Martin, you never be forgotten to me. And I hope that something of this victory is part of something I can just invest in the memory of my younger brother. Thanks very much. Take care.
Take my... Thank you. Congratulations, Marvin. Good job. And I believe, honestly, that we have much more in common than those things that separate us. So, well done. And I genuinely wish you all the best in your leadership of the city in the next 3 years. Good job. Thank you. I want to thank everyone who voted for me. I've honestly loved every minute of this campaign. Meeting people from all walks of life is one of the things that I love. And seeing the amazing businesses, the strength of our communities, and, you know, genuinely marvelling at the diversity of our city has been something, a real eye-opener for me and something I've really valued. And it's made me actually love Bristol even more than I did. And so I promise you this, that after a quick holiday with my lovely partner, I will go back to the day job that I love and continue to work to make sure that Bristol gives its young people the best possible start in life. And because that is really what's important to me, to keep Bristol and make Bristol the best place it can be, especially for our young people. And the number of Green votes that was cast in Bristol shows, I think, that the tide is turning. It's time to change how we run our city and our country. And despite the challenges of the pandemic, and maybe even because of the challenges of the pandemic, thousands, tens of thousands of Bristolians have used their vote in a different way to say that we must tackle the climate emergency and protect our natural world. We must recover our economy from the pandemic and make sure no one is left behind. We must make sure that there are good jobs and affordable homes for everybody. And we must have constructive leadership where we work together to tackle the problems that we face. And the Green vote that we've seen today shows that Bristol people are prepared to take on these challenges and make those changes that we need. And that, for me, is a signal that we must take action and not compromise or hold back. It's not going to be easy, but if we're bold, then I don't think we have to fear the future, but instead we can build a future that we can really look forward to. So thank you for all of your votes. And thank you to electoral services, all of the counters, the returning officer, the police, and everybody else involved in the count. I really appreciate that. You are the guardians of this fragile and most precious thing that we call democracy. And thank you to everybody who voted, not just those who voted Green, but to everybody who voted for the future that they want to see in Bristol. Thank you also to all of my fellow candidates. I can see Alistair over there. It's been a genuine pleasure to get to know you a little bit. Standing for office isn't easy. And what I did know, that whoever won, that we'd end up with a leader with integrity. Of course, thank you to all of our amazing Green Party volunteers and supporters. We really couldn't have done it without your hard work and your dedication. And I'm really excited to see how many Green councillors are going to get elected tomorrow. And I think that work will really pay off. Thank you too to my campaign team. You've done a magnificent job, a genuinely magnificent job. Will, Jazz, David, Poppy, Julie, Max, Heather, and Andy over here, who's my campaign manager, who I've only met for the first time in person about 3 hours ago. It's amazing what you can do online. And I want to say thank you too as well to the Creative Youth Network, my charity. Your tolerance for me disappearing and having a second job on the side has been incredibly generous. And I want to thank my team, unfortunately none of whom are here, but hopefully you'll watch this. I want to thank my team and my trustees who are doing such a good job when I'm not there and and I haven't been around. And I genuinely look forward to going back to the job that I love. And last but not least, the person who supported me tirelessly through it all. It's like a best man speech, isn't it? She's shown patience, understanding. You've advised me, calmed me, motivated me, and listened. This is your third time. And many of you will know that you've done it before. And no doubt you're privately celebrating everybody who put a cross on somebody else's name. But your good humour and your love has seen me through. Thank you, baby. Thank you all.
Thank you, everyone. That concludes the end of the declaration. If you could make your way out for media interviews and the like, that would be much appreciated. Thank you and good night.